Hey guys, welcome to Jason Unleashed. How's it going? I'm your host, Jason Carter. Thank you so much for watching. Good to be here with you guys. Happy Monday. Extremely elated, so excited for today's guest. She is a television legend. She has been seen on Extra, HGTV, you name it. This woman is a legend in television. Her name is TANIKA Ray. TANIKA Ray, yes, you guys. And it's an honor to have her on the show today. She's going to be chiming in just a few. I'll get her in. Over the moon. I have watched her for years, from the CW to Extra to just anywhere. Red carpets, the Oscars, Golden Globes, the Emmys. She has talked to who's who in Hollywood and also has a really, really cool just style and energy about her. She is natural. She is standing in her truth, and we love her. If you guys have any questions for TANIKA, boom, leave them below in the comments, and we'll try to get them as soon as we can. Let's bring TANIKA in. Here she comes. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, TANIKA. I know, I'm the most, say you guys. The absolute most. But she is an icon when it comes to entertainment journalism and just being a bomb-ass on-camera personality. TANIKA Ray!
How are you?
I'm good. Will you look at my intro?
Yeah, your intro was magnificent. I approve. Spot on. And the other part of it is, do you have a producer right there with you? Your hands didn't move. And
No.
Suddenly, I was in. How did you do that?
It's called Black Magic, boo.
Everywhere.
TANIKA, welcome to Jason Unleashed. I feel like I've manifested this because I was in your DMs, I was in your lives, I was commenting, and then our mutual friend Tay, makeup artist, amazing. Hey Tay, he was like, let me send an email. I'm like, please send an email. I need TANIKA on my show, and here you are.
Ta-da!
Looking ravishing as always. How are you doing?
You know, today was a rough day, Jason. Today was a rough day.
Why?
But you have to understand, I've got a kid here. So it's a whole different world what parents are going through right now. It is outside of the effery of our country. It's like this whole homeschooling thing is like,
right.
So it's every day is different. Every day is challenging. And today after Mother's Day, I need to do a little extra meditation. That's what it was.
Hey. I feel that. I want to say what's up to our friend Amanda Salas. She just chimed in the
Amanda.
We love Amanda, yeah? She's doing well. Good. TANIKA, I feel you. I mean, my brother and his wife are homeschooling. A lot of people are homeschooling, and that's the struggle. I mean, COVID-19 has not only upended life as we know it, but it's the result and the reaction of actions that have come to fruition since it's become a pandemic has just been like out of control. But it's given us a great way to readjust and really realize what we're made of, and we are resilient, yeah?
We are, and we don't really have a choice at this point. Nothing has taught us more that we're not in control than the last 2 months. Really not in control. Outside of God's in control, but then not in control of anything.
Right.
We have 4 weeks left of schooling, and her teachers are so awesome. They surprised her in front of our house today, which is huge for a kindergartner who loves her teachers. So that was great. But at the same time, it's like she didn't get the last of her kindergarten year with these amazing teachers and her amazing new friends. But c'est la vie, right? It is what it is. But what it is teaching us is that we all need to adapt. We all need to shift. Life is never going to be the way it used to be. So now what, right?
Now what? Here we are. TANIKA, we're going to talk about shifting and life being what it used to be in just a few, but I want to celebrate you because your career, I mean, and look, I'm a fanboy because I can. This is my show.
Why not?
I have watched you on television since the late 90s, early 2000s, and just hearing your story, how you were a dancer before, danced for Diddy, you were in these streets shutting it down, and you still are shutting it down in classes, still shutting it down. But how you transitioned, you were one of a handful of women of color on television in a time when there weren't a lot. There was you, Sean Robinson, Oprah, of course, Nichelle Turner. I mean,
Nichelle wasn't on ET yet. Nichelle's my girl.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think who else. Rolanda Watts, I guess.
Rolanda, sure.
Rolanda, Sean, are Spelmanite, so I love that story. It's intense, and I think also this is talking about shifts. going from dance to hosting was
Mm-hmm.
a huge shift that a lot of people don't make. People don't know that Carrie Ann Inaba
Right,
was a dancer.
Madonna. Right, Madonna.
Did you guys know she was a dancer?
Yes.
Did you know
Well,
we
no,
used
but
to...
we knew she was a dancer, but
We
people,
knew.
right?
Yes.
But that. So let's talk about that, Tinka, because I think I read that you had talked about, you weren't a journalist, and you felt that you just had this personality. You were a storyteller. You were curious, and you wanted to connect with people. Moving from dance, which in this business is a whole other ball game, to becoming TANIKA RAY, who we've seen on reunions on VH1, a goddess on Extra, to CW, HGTV, I mean, HLN. I can just go on and on and on. You have lent your talents to some of the best and most heralded platforms in entertainment. Making that transition from to TANIKA RAY, where did that start and how did that happen?
I think it's really vital to know when a chapter is over. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really easy to stay in your comfort zone. I could have probably danced 5, 6, 7, 8 more years, but I really felt I was really centered in what do I need from this part of my career. And I knew that it was going to be multi-layered, right? I'm not somebody that's like, I'm going to do this and do it for the rest of my life. I'm not that girl. I'm somewhat of a Renaissance woman. And I want to be fulfilled in each category. But I also know that there's an end to each chapter. As high as you get to go, that low is coming. So you got to go, okay, do I want to beat them out the door before they kick me out the door?
Word.
I want to beat them out the door. So as far as dance, I danced with everybody that I wanted to dance with the exception of like Tina Turner and Janet Jackson, but it was okay. It wasn't a big deal. Like, you have to realize what you're willing to give up and go, I still feel very fulfilled by this chapter, and I left. And in doing so, I gave myself a little bit of time to really manifest the next thing. Now, the thing about dance that wasn't very fulfilling for me is dancers are treated like, over there, shut up, don't speak.
Right.
5, 6, 7, 8. And
lowest of the low. Right.
I got ideas. I'm way smarter than just being in a 5, 6, 7, 8, symposium. But it was something I always wanted to do since I was a little girl. So I got to check it off the list. And I didn't know that hosting was going to be next. I really didn't. I was acting at the time. And I realized I didn't love acting because I was bored. Like, it's fine when you get roles. I got roles, but I was like sitting in the trailer like, I feel like this may not be exactly it.
Yeah.
But I knew I liked to perform, whatever that means, meaning connect with people. I knew I could use my voice for good. I knew that I could create stories with people that are directed and produced by me, a la On the Red Carpet. And that's how I see it. It's once that mic's in my hand, the floor is mine, and the show is crafted and architected by me. I don't know if architected is a word, but I just gave it to you.
Hey, listen, you're TANIKA RAY. You can make up whatever words you want, sweetie. But so, okay, I too was a dancer. I came out to LA. I started in radio and also television at a young age, but was dancing, and that brought me to LA, dance for a bunch of artists as well. And I feel you on the respect. And this is a time when dancers were making a lot of money. There was tours, there were pop stars, there was a music video.
We were paid.
But also the competition was stiff, and everyone wanted those coveted jobs of Britney, Janet, Mariah, Madonna. So you realize the hustle and bustle and the grind, also the physical tear and wear on your body after a while is not what you want. So I feel you on that. But you transitioned beautifully. And I will say that, TANIKA, when I was doing my research and just getting engulfing myself
in it, baby, swimming in it.
Oh, dripping in TANIKA RAY. I remember being on television thinking there was no one that looked like you either. My mom was like, oh, TANIKA's on, I love her big hair. Yeah. And that was something that you really stood in your truth in a way that was like this. It was so you. Along the way, becoming the talent that you became, what were some of the, I guess, obstacles, hiccups that you faced being who you are? Because if the conversation is about inclusivity, diversity, and difference now in 2020, 10, 5 years ago, it definitely wasn't that. What were some of the obstacles that you encountered being your authentic self on television?
Well, it's there. Wow, my brain is like, there's so many obstacles. Not just hair, a choice which is pretty revolutionary to wear it exactly the way it grows out of your head. I don't know why, but at the time, there was True. There was a Rachel True, who's an actress. There was, but as far as the new side, I was the only one. And I love that. I love being an individual and not being compared. That way they couldn't. I remember I met one of my best friends. I was at this audition for a really big show. And I thought it was mine. And they're like, yeah, we're just not sure. We're going to have some more auditions. But I'm sitting right there. And they brought in a bunch of Black girls that they thought we all looked alike, because I guess they liked my look. And we're all going to go audition together. So for me, it's them not seeing us as individuals, which was a big challenge, which is the reason why I wore my hair natural, is because they can't compare me to anybody, because the way you choose to wear your hair is connected to who you are and the way you rock through the world. And I'm a free bird. I'm obviously outgoing. I'm very effervescent when I'm in a good mood. And so it just really looked like me without me even talking. I felt like people got a sense of who I was.
Right.
Challenges came with, is she Black enough? Challenges came with, she's so articulate. Does she fulfill the demographic we want to fulfill for our Black girl? Those were the real challenges that I came up against. The hair, they almost loved in a weird turn of events, because it was frowed in their opinion. It was untamed in their opinion. So it kind of worked to my advantage in a weird way, to the point where when I was on Extra, if I straightened my hair, I would get berated.
Really?
If I changed my hair at all, they would be pissed. They're like, no, you have to wear it the way you do. Big, wild. Wear it big and wild. And you're like, got it.
Right.
That works for their whatever their idea of a Black girl is. Big and wild was working. However, I wasn't allowed to have the intelligence of a woman who knows her stuff. They don't want you to be the pretty girl. They want you to fit into a category, right?
Still.
Which is the trickiness of television. They really, they see us as different. They're like, it could be a blonde girl, but then the Black girl's got to be a different type of girl. The blonde girl's going to be the pretty girl, and the Black girl's going to be the sidekick.
Right.
And so those are the things that I think I came up against, where you just have to sort of navigate those tricky waters, because it can be very complicated.
Oh, complicated to say the least. And it's interesting that you bring up those archetypes. I think for Black males, it's look, those same types of behaviors still exist. They're more covert now because Me Too, Time's Up, everything that we're fully aware of. However, when it comes to Black male athlete, does he fit the everyone wants a Michael Strahan type, right?
Michael Strahan,
yeah.
exactly.
So it's like, so if he's the gay Black dude, is he like, yes, work, honey? Which that's all beautiful too, but why can't it be this type of Black dude that's not an athlete, that knows what's up, and he just so happens to be LGBTQ+, or a Black female that has beautiful, long, beautiful, just hair full of life, and she also knows her shit. Why are they interchangeable? Why can't they all be the total package? And I think we're coming around slowly, but not fast enough when it comes to these archetypes that we're trying to cast in Hollywood. It's terrible.
We're missing a nugget, and that is brown and Black people don't own networks, right? Even BET is owned by a white company. We do not call the shots. We don't have the ability to distribute multi-million-dollar companies. There's no Black company doing that. If there's a Black company, its arm is to like a Universal or an NBC or whatever. So that is the nugget we're missing. It has nothing to do with why can't they see us, but they aren't aware that we even exist in the multitudes and the different colors that we do, even as African Americans. Yes, so that has been, it's either we have to teach them, or they feel like we're an anomaly, and they can't understand that I went to Spelman, which is filled with Black women that speak and talk and have experiences and have traveled the world just like me.
Right.
They think it's too small of a niche. So they always sort of shoot for the majority. And in their minds, majority are the people that, as soon as they said the barbershops were open in Atlanta, they're going to the barbershop and going to the club on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
That's to them, that's what all Black people are like.
Right.
And so it's, that's the part we have to, like, instead of complaining, going, why can't you see me for all that I am, is somebody's got to take the reins, like Tyler Perry, which we love, and open his own studio and not have anybody else's influence, and say, these are the multitude of colors that my people come in. Right. And they're all fabulous, right? 100%,
100%. Someone also mentioned Byron Allen. You had mentioned a lot of things in that, and I agree with you, because it's like once you like this. The reason why me and you were talking today is because I wanted to own something, right?
Okay.
To have control over a narrative, to have control over autonomy over what my career, and no one can tell me no, except for you if you don't want to be on my show. But
there you go.
But let's celebrate you on television some more, because as I said, for a long time we saw you on some, again, most important pieces of television landscape. Extra, 2004, 2009. You went from weekend anchor or correspondent to weekend anchor, and then you disappeared. Oh,
I got you. In 2009, I disappeared.
Right. Yeah. Off the show, only to come back. TANIKA Ray is back in the house. So let's talk about that. Why make the choice to leave when, and which I get it, but talent, as you know, we fight so hard for so little, right? And you get a great opportunity and you say, you know what, I'm out. It takes a lot of courage to do that. How did you arrive at that conclusion and at that decision in your career?
Now, Jason, I swear I had a conversation with you at a Pop Sugar audition, right?
We talked about salads too.
We went all over the map. I'm a brave girl, and I'm an independent thinker. I don't if I'm miserable, I'm not going to put myself through that. It's part of self-care. It's part of my well-being. I understand that money is obviously a concern, but I just felt like I was at the point in my career where I was so unhappy, that I couldn't put myself in that position again. It became very dark, very toxic. Those newsrooms are no joke, as you know.
Yeah.
And who gets beat up on is often the people that are on the fringes, right? So I was considered, they knew what my talent was, but I actually worked for a boss who loved to fuck with people. It's her favorite hobby. And which is fine, I'm strong, I can take it. But at a certain time you go, what am I taking this for?
Right.
Like, is this my main goal in life? Am I a lifer at an entertainment magazine show? And the answer that always came back was no, I'm not a lifer. I loved it. What worked well for me at a show like Extra was all of my talents converging in one place. I love connecting with people. It's one of my superpowers. Mm-hmm. I loved films and television. I don't love them so much anymore, but at the time that was my jam. I dorked out and used to go to like the independent movie houses and watch like subtitled foreign films and go home and write reviews for them. I just loved films. And I actually thought when I was going to Extra, very naive, that I was going to be talking to people about their motivation and their process of acting.
Yeah.
I was wrong. And I found myself in multiple situations that were so lacking
depth.
Not even depth. Human sort of, it lacked character. And it was the things that the show was asking me to do. For instance, and I've told this story before, it was the weekend or the week after the Chris Brown Rihanna incident. So the week after the Grammys that year. And I want to say, yeah, it must have been the week after. It was the Essence Black Women in Hollywood event. Now, if you know that event, Jason, you know that event. Mm-hmm. That event is goddess territory.
Right. Yes.
It is blessed, sacred ground. Okay. And my white producers were telling me that I had to ask Halle Berry about her thoughts on Chris hitting Rihanna. Now, there have been rumors that Halle has been the victim of some abuse.
Yes.
Which was the story for my producers. They didn't care we were on sacred ground.
Headline.
They didn't care that it was the most amazing event for Black women throughout the year, and that we look forward to it. It's a time for sisterhood. They could give a fuck.
Yeah.
What they said was, I better not come back without a response from Halle Berry.
Right.
And then they sent one of the senior producers with me, who, while I'm talking to Halle, I was already decided I ain't doing it. She's in, and you know how tight it is. Like they get off all making us on top of each other. I'm talking to Halle. Her publicist had already said, do not ask anything else except for about this event. So we already know. Right. Producers in my ear, ask her, ask her, ask her, ask her. You can't go back. You have to ask her. You have to ask her. Just bullying me. So I finally look at Halle. Halle, last question. You don't have to answer if you don't want. Do you have anything to say about Chris Brown? And the look that she gave me was like, I am the biggest slime on the bottom of her shoe. And she's walked out in a field of Corona. Like, it was bad. Yeah. And I was like, that is not who I am. Right. I respect people's privacy so much because I respect my privacy. What people don't know is I grew up here in LA. I grew up in Brentwood. I went to school with celebrity kids. I had sleepovers at their house. I very much value their privacy. So when I started going against my own values is when I was like, it's not for me. Right. So I learned a huge lesson in 2009. And this is right when Mario was to become the host. And I went into my boss's office and I was like, you know, no need to bring me a new contract. I'm out. Wow. What, Tanika? What? Do you want to host it with Mario? Which would have been pretty amazing because it would have been a Black woman and a Latino hosting a show in 2009. That would have been magnificent. Right. But I was already over the edge by then. Yeah. And I was just like, I need a break. Like I'm not getting enough for filming. Oh, and also, Jason, this is at a time when celebrities were no longer like real celebrities. Reality shows had taken over. All my show cared about was Paris Hilton, Britney Spears, Anna Nicole Smith, who died. The Hills. I mean, just the wretched of all wretchedness, right? And the breaking point was when I went to a premiere with Brad Pitt. And you may have heard this story. I went to a premiere, Brad Pitt, lots of celebrities are there. And they said the most important get, Tanika, is Heidi and Spencer. I was like, this is some bullshit. I'm out. This is just dumb at this point. I'm so bored. Yeah. You know, this is also at a time when they were like, well, if it's not Denzel, Beyonce, Oprah, Jamie Foxx, and one other Black person, we don't cover it, you know? Right. And I forced Taraji in there, now look and see. So I was an advocate for the community. I really was. I saw talent, and I really tried to force us in there, but it's not easy, as you know.
100%. And, you know, you've always held up the community. And that's one of the things, I think that's why Black audiences have been so loyal to you, or at least my viewership has been absolutely loyal to you, because I think it feels good when someone who is in power is able to bring like Nipsey Hussle. I'll never forget the Grammys, I think it was, with Nipsey. I mean, no one was covering Nipsey until after he died, right?
Correct.
And the culture knew about Nipsey, but mainstream, he could have been like any other rapper, right? And so, but that moment with you, him, and Lauren was like, okay, all right, we see you, we see that. I'm going to quote you, and this quote resonated with me so deeply, was that you run your life in faith, not in fear.
Absolutely.
So you leave Extra, 7 years later, you return. What changed? I know you have a beautiful daughter, Nyla. You decided a lot in that gap of time when you were out being Tanika, doing your thing. Why? What changed in you, and how did you view the landscape of talent and entertainment and just as business in order to return and be like, okay, guys, I'm back on the same show
Yeah.
with a great Mario Lopez. Again, two people of color killing the game. What brought you back?
Such a great question. So many things happen in that 7 years. You know, they say we shift as people every 7 years. So was it 7 years? 2009 to 2017, whatever it was. And I learned a lot. I went to HGTV. I went and did a bunch of reunion shows. I did a show called Oh Sit. I did a musical chair, like amped up, cracked out show. And I loved it. Each show was an adventure that taught me more about what it is that I love. And when it still comes to the core, it's about the connection. I don't care if there's water splashing and people sweating and vomiting or people coming on red carpets. It's about that connection, right?
Yeah.
So really what changed, and it was me obviously growing up more and more. I stopped watching entertainment shows, so I didn't see them for 7 years. I didn't buy tabloid magazines because I didn't care. So I was disconnected from it, to be perfectly honest. And I didn't go to them. They came to me, Jason.
That part. Wow.
It wouldn't have been the other way around. So I had a baby. Oh, actually, she kept trying me. She kept calling me throughout those 7 years to do pilots and all this. And it was like January 2014, and I was doing the upfronts, the NBC upfronts. And I was pregnant, and they didn't know. And basically, they wanted me to be the host then to come back with Mario in 2014. And I was like, I'm pregnant, and I need to spend time with this baby. So they let me go. They ignored me for 2 years until it looked like I was working mommyhood with the mostest, called me and said, we'd love to meet you. And it went from there.
That's amazing.
And also the distinction of being the host and not having to do every single red carpet every single night was the saving grace.
Yeah.
Because that grind, as you know, Jason, is 25/8,
yeah,
380 days a year.
It is. And you have
nonstop.
And you have to, I mean, you have to, you can love something enough to not want to do that. Like, I feel you. No, and also you move out of seasons in your career as a host and on-camera personality. Yeah. Like, yeah, you'll do a red carpet, but you're not going to go to like any red carpet. You know what I'm saying? And it's all you know, saying there's power in saying no. And I'm realizing that now more than ever, because we come to LA, we want to work in this business in any capacity, and we feel like we don't have the faith you have. We let the fear run instead of the faith run. So with that comes a lot of sacrifices of your happiness, your health, your sanity, self-esteem. It erodes a lot of things. Yeah. And so for you who has had this career that you've made a name for yourself, you have the goods, you have proven that, hey, you put TANIKA RAY on a red carpet, we're going to turn the party. You can call those shots. You come back to Extra in a time where you have Mario Lopez, who's now one of the biggest hosts on television, the Dimples, AC Slater, and it's great. It's going wonderful. And then again, you depart. This time, same feelings, or was it just like, it's a wrap, I'm done with this, I want to move into the next era of my career, my life?
Well, this time, I only had a contract for 2 years, because what they knew was that they only had a contract left with NBC for 2 years. So they were scrambling the last years that I was there, trying to find somebody else to pick up the show, which is super interesting. And then when they found somebody, it was Fox. And at the same time, I was told that I was not allowed to leave to go to an event that I wanted, a 6-day event that I would have to use my vacation time for. And I was just sort of over them telling me what I could and could not do if it's using my vacation days.
Right.
It wasn't during sweeps. I did that before. I let them run my life and I was miserable. I'm like, I'm a grown ass woman. I've got a child who comes first. And if I want to go to a Tony Robbins event, I'm going to a Tony Robbins event in December. And I was told I couldn't go. And I just did it anyway. And it actually was at the same time as Extra's Christmas party, where all the Fox execs were going to be for the first time to meet the talent. And I just didn't care.
Yeah.
I just got to a point where I loved doing the on-camera work, talking to the audience was awesome. Going to a red carpet felt like regression a little bit. I've been there, done that. Although it's great to go to a junket, I'm good at that, but I need that to evolve as well.
Right.
We can't keep asking, what are you wearing? Is it true you're dating? So who fucking cares?
Right.
And maybe people do. But I just think this quarantine is teaching us that we've all got to shift to a broader perspective of what's really important. And I'm always kind of ahead. That's what has been a very big challenge for me in life, but also really relaxing at the same time is celebrity is on the decline, right?
Yeah.
So it just felt like we were forcing these narratives about people that just didn't feel true. And if I don't want to watch TV as a TV fan, then why am I doing these things that I think other people want to watch when I really don't believe in it?
Yeah.
I didn't believe in the direction we were going. It felt pandering to an old time that wasn't modern. It wasn't fresh. It wasn't sexy. I just think we have to move on. And I'd rather, now that I have a daughter, I'd rather her hold in high esteem people that are changing the world. And there's nothing against celebrities. Look, I stand hard for Oprah and Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. I love Jennifer Aniston. My first job was on Friends. They are everything to me. But to pretend like they're the most important people on the planet is me going against myself again.
Right.
You know?
That makes sense. 100%.
Yeah.
See, and again, I envy that kind of just solid foundation you have and the strength, I guess, that you have. No, not I guess, it absolutely is strength to be like, when it's time to exit stage left, because a lot of people, because of fear, don't. They stay in abusive relationships. They stay in abusive in this industry. I say this time and time again, Tanika, you know, this industry is abusive directly and indirectly, from bosses that love to fuck with you, to comments and microaggressions and all these things that you have to deal with. It takes a certain type of person to not bend, but even over time you bend because you are human. But people, because we fight so hard to be here, this, like I say time and time again, this town is filled with prom queens and prom queens and kings who left their small towns to come to LA and make it with their type A personalities, saying no, surrendering and saying, you know what, this isn't working is not an option. But so it comes at the detriment of so many things that do not have to be detrimental to our being. But along the way, Tanika, you have crafted a signature. I mean, I watched so many amazing interviews with you and Oprah, who blessed your baby, who touched your belly and said, yes.
It was pretty dope. I'm not going to lie.
How did you arrive at being, as a one host and other, how are you so great on camera? I always want to ask people who are amazing, how are you that good? Is it just, I mean, practice makes perfect, but is it just, are you a mutant? Did the Lord say, you know what, Tanika? Boom, this is your gift?
Yeah. Well, yes, God's definitely helped. But you know what I'm going to say? This is going to be a little controversial. Because I didn't go to journalism school.
Neither did Megyn Kelly. And she's amazing.
Because I was a theater major, and what I do well is listen. I'm very good at listening. So I, for instance, would have a list of their questions, the agenda for the show. Then I would add my own stuff. Then I would read it once, throw the paper away or put it in my pocket, and then let the conversation guide me.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's really hard for people who went to journalism school, because it's so particular, like the way you shape your arc of your questions. And it's so schooled. I didn't have to fight through that.
Right.
I just got to be here with somebody. And in my head, luckily, I do have a photographic memory. Little things like that help. So I can look at a page one time and I literally, in my brain's like, oh, I didn't ask that question, while I'm still listening, holding a conversation,
right.
and then segue them very naturally to this question.
Yeah.
It's just, that's what I'm saying. Like, my gifts perfectly fall into the bowl of extra. However, I just really think there's another sort of medium. There's another world that I can utilize my gifts in.
So with those gifts that you have and this another medium that you can absolutely utilize your gifts in, what would that be? Will Tanika Ray return to television?
I mean, will television be there, Jason?
Yeah, yes.
You think television's staying around?
I think yes, I do think television is staying around. I think the way we consume and what we consume and how we consume is it's gonna change even more. It's been changing. Right. Audiences are absolutely more savvier than ever before. And we have so many different ways to get our celebrity content or our woke content or whatever that may, whatever fills your cup. There's an outlet and a place in your pocket with a smartphone you can have any given time of day. But what is still in need, much like nurses and doctors, are people, great storytellers, and people that can connect with an audience, and people who get it, whatever it is. And I think that we're done with, hey, oh my God, welcome to such and such a show. I'm Jason Carter, and today,
it's gone, girl, it's gone.
Like a great example of a show, Tanika, that is killing it with authenticity is State of the Culture on Revolt TV. Joe Budden, Remy Ma, because that conversation they have is like, okay, what are they talking about? And then you get into it, you're like, whoa, it's deep. But it's these really nuanced, educated conversations with really nuanced, educated people. Yeah. And so those are the type of shows that I think that people are buying, and they're buying. You know what I mean? So I'm saying for you, who you've always been ahead of the curve, even when you were given entertainment news, and even when you were in that fun skittly bowl of candy that's like, ooh, fun, pop culture, you still found a way to have it unique and have it uniquely yours and still uplift the people. That's what's next. You definitely can insert yourself into that. So would you, and what would that look like?
Well, I'm very tight-lipped about that, but yes, kind of everything you said, which is I've been creating content for the last couple years, and I've pitched it to certain places that have then stolen parts of my ideas. So I'm stepping back, and I'm realizing, and I asked you, is TV still going to be here for a reason? Because I really truly feel that the smartphone is content. TV is TV, and I feel like we'll start watching our computers content on, as we already are, Netflix and Hulu, right. And then the ABCs and all of them are going to kind of be in the background, and it's just not going to be the same. It's going to be, I mean, Liza Koshy is hosting a nighttime talk show, so it's not going to be. They're starting to become okay with niche that can speak to the masses, whereas before they were producing content or television shows for the masses, not worrying about it. So you had to fit into a category, right? Versus now, Liza Koshy, what is she? Who is she? What's going on? Right. She's like a full unicorn, and she's hosting a prime time, well, not prime time, but a network late night talk show, which is incredible. So we have shifted, but what's going to happen is ABC's, you know, I know how to Get Away with Murder's over, but all these long 1 hour dramas, are people really watching those? Right. Or are they really more interested in the things on YouTube? So I really just see that sort of blending. It's going to be a hybrid of the two. And I feel like if you've watched the movie Fifth Element, that's where I feel like we're going. Everybody's going to have their own show inside their little cubes. And we'll say, oh, and you have to keep a really good record of, oh, when your homegirl over there is going to have her show. the structure of it is falling down the same way the structure of our country is falling down. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, there's no parameters. What happens when we're still in quarantine in November and there's no more TV shows that have been produced?
Right.
What happens? They all
Right.
go in reruns. But guess who is producing content? You. And I'm going to sit here and do an IG live with a friend tomorrow. And is that going to be our whole world? So
Right.
I think we have to just be open to the fact that nothing will ever be the same again.
Right. You're right. You're right. Never. I was having this conversation with my husband or my brother. I think it was my husband or my brother about how.
They're not the same person, right?
No, my husband's up here, Munchkin. Say hi, babe.
Hi.
Tia says hi. No, my brother, and whereas we're all on Zoom now. We're having these Zoom. So many things that you never would have done before have so very quickly become the new normal, and I think it's exciting. There's some excitement in that because there's not a lot to be excited about. But you are right. If God forbid we are still in quarantine in November, I need to hear. I cannot. But the most important job for you is that of being a mother. And
that's what they tell me anyway.
and it's interesting because you have this beautiful daughter, Nyla, and I've seen so many interviews where you talk about being a mother, and people love hearing you talk about being a mother. I mean, you're on Hello Sunshine talking about being a mother with this amazing author, and I'm thinking TANIKA Ray could absolutely own that space. Have you thought about that?
I have, and I've got some things in the works in that category as well. It's where I feel the most myself, and I got to tell you, Jason, it's funny because somebody texted me or DM'd me something back in September, and it was like, why isn't TANIKA Ray more famous? Like, why aren't you more famous? And A, it's a choice. B, because it's not, that world wasn't authentic to me. And C, I'm uber private. So now I have to navigate those things and make sure that I'm staying true to what it is that I am interested in. And you're right, the mommy-daughter space is fascinating to me. The brown mommy-daughter space is fascinating to me. So I do have some things working. Here on my Insta, we do a lot of mommy and munch, my hashtag mommy and munch, which is probably the most popular thing on my Instagram page, for sure. And my daughter's getting really big-headed about that. But the mommying part of me is just something I just never thought I would do, and something that ended up being intuitive, surprising to me. And I love that space. I mean, I want to do clothing. I want to do books. I want to do seminars. Like, I want to do it all. And so this is the time to manifest that. However, I've got about 5 minutes a day. The only reason why she hasn't walked into this room and completely just taken over is because I'm like, just go Zoom a friend. Just go talk and have fun with your friend. Zoom whoever you want for the next hour. And that's what she's probably calling Obama and Oprah. I don't even care. Just leave me alone for 1 hour, you know?
Yeah.
But that I'm very passionate about. I'm also very passionate, not about politics itself, because let's be honest, politics sucks. But I have been creating content for the last couple years with women, specifically women of color. In 2015, in December, I produced this roundtable discussion with Omarosa, with Senator Holly Mitchell, with all these women who are actresses and activists in this city. And we talked about what it was that we wanted in our next president and what it was that our community needed in our next leader. I never released it. As the election got uglier and uglier and more racist, I was like, who am I releasing this to?
Right.
Black women already know. And thank God we showed up, 96% doing the right thing? So what am I releasing this work for? Then I produced something in August of 2018, which was a smaller roundtable of women of different backgrounds. So we had a white woman who actually had some viral beef with a social activist. And I had her, I had Melina Abdullah, who co-founded Black Lives Matter in Los Angeles. I had a psychotherapist. I had a mixed girl from Seattle who was raised by a white mom. To have different backgrounds of women sitting together, discussing who we are and really seeing each other is next level for me.
Yeah.
Because what we're getting caught up in is the salaciousness of they're racist. People get really weird about that word. But I want to get down to the human component of why. It all goes down to our childhood, right? It all goes down to why we are misunderstanding each other is the narratives of the news. The fact that every time a Black person is killed or goes to jail, they look like a murderer in their picture. And every time a white person murders 300 people, they find that smiling picture. And that just those small things that happen in our news it's conditioning our society. So I want to strip back. I want to go back further and dissect all the stuff that's in our inner working and our inner beings of how we're wired so that we can move forward and unhinge ourselves from those narratives. I get really deep. That's what's super interesting to me. Not, oh my God, she's so pretty. What is she wearing? I think that's great. That's the frosting on top. But what is she like as a person? I think it's super interesting when celebrities are very passionate about a cause. I want to know about that cause. Let's talk about that. But we gotta get to a point where our world is so done with the frivolous that we're starving for the nutritious food. Right now, we are a McDonald's society. And I mean that literally and figuratively, a McDonald's, just junk food, right?
Well, you remember, I mean, Tanika, that you remember when maybe it was Billy Bush. Well, it was someone on the carpet that was like, I want to get award season. I think it was award season 2015 or 14, where Ask Me More was the hashtag. Ask Me More, where Reese Witherspoon shut somebody down when they asked her about her dress. She said, why don't you ask me about this? And so it became this thing where in entertainment, it shifted quickly because, of course, you don't want to piss off a celebrity.
You want to make them happy.
Right. But it became, ask about my initiatives. And then fast forward, Me Too, Time's Up, really brought that to a head. And what you're saying about going beyond the frosting on the cake and the frivolousness, I could see you doing NPR, really, I hate using the word woke because people like to weaponize the word woke, but really woke.
Woke is, we're not allowed to use that word anymore, but I understand.
Right. You feel me? But like inspired and very nuanced places to have those conversations, because I think that is what the trajectory that would be amazing for you. I'm over here being your agent. I'm being way more excited.
But it's true. And like I said, one of the most challenging things in my career is being too early. Yeah. So I pitched this to Extra 2010 and they're like, nobody wants to see that. I'm like, I'm telling you, people are getting bored. And if you don't give them some takeaways, not only do they love Reese Witherspoon, but they love the fact that Reese Witherspoon is really passionate about kids reading, so then they can connect to her there. Like it's a win-win for everybody. But to leave that part out makes us look stupid to the celebrities. And it really makes our effect, it diminishes our effect if we're going to stay at the frivolous frosting,
Right. Yeah. Carmeet from the Pussycat Dolls. Carmeet Bakar says hi.
I know who Carmeet is.
Okay. But the audience, guys, it's broadcasting, not linear. You've got to broadcast.
6 o'clock, bitch. 6 o'clock.
You have done so much, and you have been a face on television that has been inspirational, that has been a joy to watch for people of color, but also non-POCs. And thank you for that, because those types of personalities don't come around anymore. It's a very McDonald's society when it comes to talent and entertainment. So thank you for your contributions to that.
What's up, Natasha?
I know, so Natasha's deep in. Natasha's in the comments today. Love you, Natasha. Tanika, if someone wants to ask you, come up to you now. We think we've known you. You've come into our homes, been a part of our lives for over 20 years now. If someone wants to come and ask you, who is Tanika Ray in 2020, what would you tell them?
Ooh. First of all, I want to say that people do think that they know me, and they know like this much. I'm a rebel, you know, and I think that has helped me along in this career, is that I'm not easily influenced by other people based on what they think is trendy or popular.
Yeah.
It gets me in a lot of trouble, but I can sleep at night, and I really love my career the way that it's gone. Even the break from Extra was almost poetic in a sense. And I do think what you said, I'm going to tie some ends together. What you said about the Ask Me More movement is part of the reason why Extra would come back to me in 2017, because they finally got it that the celebrities need more and the audience needs more. I also was somebody who said to my boss, mind you, TMZ was born on the second floor of Extra. And I said to my boss, before TMZ became a TV show, we should put cameras in the office. That's super interesting. Nobody wants to see that, Tanika. So it's hard being so far ahead. And then you give up on stuff because everyone's saying it's not interesting. And suddenly your ideas are everywhere, right? So I don't even know what your original question was.
No, but I asked you who was Tanika Ray in 2020. You said you're a rebel. You're a rebel. You're a rebel. But that energy has been, we've known that about you.
Oh.
I
did?
Yes, Tanika, yes. That's one of the reasons why I think people, beyond your skill set and beyond your connection with the audience and stars, that's one of the reasons why I tune in, because there was an energy and a bad girl element about you on television. Even in interviews, from Steve Harvey to Oh Sid to the Today Show, anytime you're asked a question, it's never like, oh, it's always with some wit, a little spunk, and some snark. And that's cool. It is what it is, right?
Okay, Jason, I'm a smart ass. Is that what you're... I am. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. You know, I'm owning it. That's who I am. I definitely don't give people the answers that they are, the scripted answers that they're hoping for. That's for sure. I think I'm successful asking the questions, because I don't want the same old answer that they've given everybody either.
Yeah.
So that's been a weapon in my back pocket. But I'm a rebel. I'm independent. I'm a free spirit. I really am spiritual. I'm so intuitive. I literally, if I hear the universe saying, make a left, and I know I've got to go right to get to my destination, I'm gonna make a left, because you got to hone that intuition. It's like a muscle. You got to work that muscle.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was just gonna say that.
Yes. Well, because people don't understand what spirituality is.
Right.
It's here comes fire engines coming. So it's funny that I'm talking about spirituality. People are a little confused by it. They're like, well, religion. I'm like, no, it's not religion, so to speak. It really is rooted. It's your personal connection to God, universe. Right. And if I don't listen to the universe or God or my intuition on the little stuff, like turn left, then how is the God, universe, intuition going to trust me with the big stuff? You've got to work that muscle out. And I think that because I've always been a student, and I was very passionate, what really changed my life so much when I was like 20 was I ran across Deepak Chopra. And I discovered Marianne Williamson. And Deepak Chopra taught me how to deal with rejection. There's a thing in 7 spiritual laws of success that talk about detachment. So even if I really, really want a job, I learned from him that it doesn't matter if I really get the job or not. It doesn't, because my path is already determined, okay? And if I don't get that job, that producer might go on to another job that's perfect for me. You never know. You can't control life. So I know that I can't be attached to outcomes, because that is when you are disappointed. All you can do is do your best in the moment. So I used to start having so much fun in auditions that's all that mattered. And then I started booking. Have fun in your auditions. Not that any of us are going to be auditioning anytime soon. Except for over Zoom, but
or self tapes, which suck. I hate them. Tanika, it has been such a pleasure and such a joy and an honor to talk to you today. Thank you for enduring my tenacity of DMs and sliding in, because I mean, again, I've watched you and you are part of my television tapestry, and I'm glad that the viewers have been able to have a moment with you and to hear your expertise and your experience, because that is priceless and is so invaluable. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I so
So
appreciate you.
they can find you at TANIKA RAY on all social platforms.
All social platforms, honey. I am not that creative when it comes to my social platform names. And that way it's just clean. At TANIKA RAY, TANIKA RAY.
Awesome. Again, thank you for your time. We're going to talk again, but you are the best. And you be safe. Tell the daughter hi and keep on killing the game.
Thank you so much, Jason. Stay safe, okay?
Bye. See ya.
Okay, much love. Bye, guys.